Am I the a-hole for telling my wife she doesn't live here? My wife and I have been struggling for months now. Her mom died, and her dad needs full-time care that the family can't afford. They are trying to get him qualified for assistance, but in the meantime, she moved home to take care of her dad. She had to quit her job, and I couldn't afford the rent on the apartment and full-time childcare without both of our incomes, so I moved in with my sister. My sister is single and has 3 dogs. Her house, well, it smells like dog. Her house has 3 bedrooms, but she uses one of the rooms for storage, so my son and I share a room. She is a flexitarian, and she doesn't want certain foods in her house. It's not an ideal living situation, but my son loves the dogs, and she helps me with childcare in addition to giving me free lodging, so I'm not complaining. My wife's sister took a trip to their dad's to watch him for a week so my wife could come home and see us, which actually means coming to my sister's because we don't have a home. She has been here for 3 days, and she has not stopped complaining about the smell of the dogs or the fact that my sister won't clean out the storage room for our son. Earlier this evening, she complained about not being able to buy beef, and I asked her to please stop. She asked if I was asking her to stop talking. I said no, that I was asking her to stop complaining. She said the conditions are unlivable. I said, but you don't live here, so why do you care? She is crying in the room while I am stuck in the living room with our son. She said I accused her of abandoning the family, which isn't what I said, but that isn't even the point. I understand she can't abandon her dad to waste away and die, but this situation is because of her family, and my family is helping, and I feel like she's so damn ungrateful. I know that's an uncharitable way to feel about one's wife, but she hasn't thanked my sister at all, and it's starting to piss me off. Now for the top comments before reading the update. No a-holes here. I think you and your wife are under immense strain, and it's not bringing out the best in you. Better to take a breath and say something like, I love you and I absolutely know you need to be there for your father, and I'm willing to be flexible for that because it's important. But it's the same for me. I need you to be flexible about my sister, who is making it possible for us to keep on going while you take care of your father. I get what you're saying, but I feel like the 2 situations are different. My sister doesn't need us. She's doing us a favor. I think my wife isn't being appropriately thankful. Yes, I get that she needs to take care of her dad, but she can't come into your sister's home and complain either. That's so rude. Thank you. I feel like I'm going crazy. My sister isn't asking us for a penny, and my wife is complaining about smells. I don't think homeless shelters smell any better. Has your wife applied to be a family caregiver? Several states will pay some wages. It may not make up for your wife's lost income, but could help. I think she did, but she hasn't been approved yet. Your wife is angry at the situation and at herself because she does feel on some level she is abandoning you and made your lives harder. And I think on some level you aren't being honest with yourself about resenting the situation or her absence. No a-holes here, just people that need to communicate before they bury things so deeply they become a time bomb. Not the a-hole. You're right. Your wife should stop complaining and be grateful your sister is providing you and your son a place to live while she is caring for her father. Without your sister, where would the 2 of you be? I truly have no idea. Now for the update. Thank you for the advice. I asked my wife to come get breakfast with me this morning. She said we couldn't afford it, but I told her she needed a break and Denny's won't bankrupt us. She was very reluctant, but I convinced her. When we were there, she tried to get our son to eat a sausage, and he said, yuck. Her expression was so sour that I knew I wasn't going to be able to avoid a fight. She went on a tirade about my sister. I tried to tell her that toddlers think everything is yuck at one point or another. Last month, carrots were yuck. She insisted it was my sister's fault. I asked her not to go back. I wanted to wait until she was in a better mood to ask, but that ship had sailed. I asked her to stay, try to get her old job back, and for us to get a new apartment. I said she has been caretaking for her dad for months and that it is her sister's turn, and then her brother should take a turn. She said they won't. I said if she doesn't go back, they will have to. She said she isn't even sure her old boss would rehire her. I said all she can do is ask. She said she will think about it. She went for a walk when we got back, so that's where we are right now. Next story. Am I the a-hole for evicting my deceased brother's fiancé? My brother passed away recently, and he had a live-in partner or fiancé. Both of my parents have passed away, and so has my sister, which leaves me as his next of kin. The house my brother lived in was my grandparents' house. He purchased it in 2021 after they passed away. We grew up in that house, and I have a massive connection to it. It's the only thing I have left of my family, and I'm the only one left. Since I'm the next of kin, I inherited the house. I offered his partner, let's call him Steve, that he could continue to live there if he paid the mortgage and property taxes, similar to renting. Steve said he couldn't afford it and asked me to sell instead. He requested information about what kind of profits he would be receiving or inheriting from the house. I told him that even if he wasn't living there, I inherited the house, I wouldn't be selling it, and he wouldn't be inheriting any money from it. He demanded that I sell and said he would take me to court over the inheritance. I pleaded with him, explaining that this was my family home and my only remaining connection to my brother, but he refused. So I offered to pay for an apartment for him for a year, since I am also my brother's named life insurance beneficiary. Steve then demanded everything, including the life insurance, despite my telling him that I am the named beneficiary. I told him he wasn't getting anything and needed to leave my family home after he threatened to take me to court a second time. He refused, so I filed for eviction. To add more context, Steve and my brother were together for 6 years and engaged for 2 years prior to my brother's death. My brother and I had talked a few months before his death about how, although they were engaged, he was probably never going to get married. I'm not sure if this was due to the new administration and concerns about how same-sex marriage laws might change, or if their relationship was rocky. 1 year prior to my brother's death, he got a new job and named me as his life insurance beneficiary after they were already engaged. Common law marriage doesn't exist in my state, and Steve never paid into the house at all. My brother paid all of their bills. I paid the mortgage on my family home for the last year and only recently spoke to Steve after the estate went through probate. I can't afford to pay both mortgages long term. So, am I the a-hole? Why would you offer to pay for an apartment if you wanted him to pay the mortgage and property tax? That does not sound logical. If he left you a house with a mortgage, find out who is on the loan. If Steve is on the loan, then legally he has rights. If your brother is the only name on it and you can't pay off the mortgage, you have to refinance in your name. I've been paying the mortgage for the last year since my brother passed away. It was only recently that I had this discussion with Steve once I realized I can't afford to pay for 2 places at once. My plan was that once he moved into an apartment, I could pay for that with my salary for a year while putting a large chunk of the life insurance into the mortgage to reduce that burden. I've been taking care of him for the last year on my salary. He's not on the loan. My brother purchased the house before they were engaged or lived together. I can't keep footing the bill for him to live in my family home. Info: does Steve work, or was your brother the breadwinner? Did your brother say why he made you the beneficiary of his life insurance? Did Steve know about it? Probably not the a-hole. Since your brother chose you as the life insurance beneficiary a year before his death, while 5 years into his relationship with Steve, it seems clear this was your brother's wish. Maybe he wanted to help you out, since you no longer have close family left. This may have been the final support he could give you, as well as a way to keep the family home in the family. Yes, Steve has a job, but my brother paid all the bills. My brother's plan was to sell the house to me when he wanted to buy something different. The home was meant to stay in our family, and Steve knew that. He named me as the life insurance beneficiary because he wanted it to go toward the mortgage in case he passed, so we wouldn't ever lose the house. I've been paying my own mortgage and the mortgage on our family home for the last year since my brother passed, while Steve has lived there. Wow, so Steve has lived rent-free for a year, has been offered another rent-free year, and has a job, yet is still hostile? Does Steve have any health issues? Are you doing this because your brother asked you to look out for Steve? My brother didn't make any comments. He passed fairly quickly in an accident, so there were no deathbed discussions. I did it because I wanted to while probate was happening. Despite everything, I love and care for Steve. I just needed to find a way to keep my family home protected in the end. It's all I have left of anyone. Next story. Am I the a-hole for moving back in with my ex to make him sell the house? I am a 27 female from the UK, and my ex is a 34 male. It's a long story, but we were together for 3 years. We bought a house and a dog, and I was pregnant. I left my ex 1.5 years ago after I had a miscarriage at 3 months. Instead of being there for me, he played FIFA and basically shut down. After this, I said I didn't want to get pregnant again for a while. I had 14 hours of labor and it was very traumatic. And he told me I wasn't broken, so what's the issue? I left him for many reasons in addition to this. I did all the cooking, cleaning, mowing the lawn, taking the bins out, looking after the dog, waking him up every day, and paying more bills. I was basically like his mom. I fell out of love and ended things a long time ago. Anyway, I moved back to Surrey from the coast, where we had our house, and I have been renting ever since. He refuses to sell the house and give me my money back, so I am stuck. I want to take him to court, but it's too expensive. What I am asking is, am I the a-hole if I move back in until he agrees to put it on the market? He doesn't like me, which is fine, and he definitely doesn't want me to move back in. But I am done paying overpriced rent when I own a house. What do you guys think? Not the a-hole in your logic, but what would happen if you just listed it for sale? You'd have to get a lawyer either way, but if he initiates the lawsuit, you might be able to countersue, get your money back, and ask the court or judge to make him pay your attorney fees. Not sure if that's a possibility in your country. I am not allowed to sell it without him. We are co-owners 50-50, so all decisions have to be joint, sadly. Not the a-hole. You own the house. If he refuses to sell, you have a legal right to live there. Moving back in forces the issue and saves you rent money. He can't hold your equity hostage. Just be safe, but absolutely move back in. Thank you. I feel this is best. It won't be expensive for me to move. The house is full of furniture I paid for that he won't give me, so at least I can use it. If you're going to do this, I wouldn't give him a heads up. He may change the locks, if he hasn't already. And when you move out, take everything that belongs to you with you. Don't let him have any of it. So he's too lazy and cheap to change the locks. I have given him a heads up, and he said he'd rather I didn't. I just said, well, I am moving back in, LOL. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to know or meet my grandkid and cutting my daughter off? I have a daughter, Anna, who is married to my son-in-law, Emil. None of us have a problem with him, but our relationship with him is mostly formal. She got pregnant and gave birth to our granddaughter. And no, this is not our first grandchild. We have 4 other kids who have children of their own, making a total of 10 grandchildren. After our daughter's daughter was born, we were not allowed to meet her at the hospital, but her in-laws were allowed to. Fine, she had just had a baby, no problem. We then asked when we could visit, and they told us they would let us know when it was okay. My other daughter told me that her sister Anna had said her in-laws were allowed to meet the baby, and all my kids thought it was weird, but we didn't say anything. Note, by this point, it had been 5 months since the baby was born, so we asked again. They saw the message and did not reply. At that point, I decided I was not going to beg my daughter to let us meet her baby. We left communication open, but did not ask again because we didn't want to be overbearing. The rest of my kids didn't get to meet their new niece either, so it wasn't just us. Before we knew it, the girl had turned 1. During this time, our daughter would message us, but never about her daughter, so we didn't push it. Then we got a message from Anna telling us that we were horrible grandparents, that we didn't show interest in her child, and that they were cutting us off. We tried replying, but she had blocked us, and so had our son-in-law. Long story short, my daughter's in-laws reached out to us and told us they had cut off their son. According to them, he was overbearing and threatening them with not being allowed to see their grandchild if they didn't do this or that, so they decided to cut him off first so he wouldn't have any power over them. I don't think they knew about them contacting us because my daughter reached out to my wife and asked if we wanted to meet her daughter. My wife thanked her for the kind offer, but gently said no without asking me. I'm not angry. After that, she got blasted with messages from Anna saying that we owed them gifts, money, and that we were her daughter's grandparents, etc. At this point, I was fed up, and I told her that we didn't mind not knowing her daughter, and that we had 10 other grandkids. Our daughter then started begging us to meet her daughter, and said we were favoring our other grandchildren. I told her that we are not obligated to be grandparents, and that if she wanted to cut us off, That was fine and suggested we could do it for her. And before anyone starts saying anything about Emil abusing Anna, there was abuse involved. Our daughter has been abusing Emil for years. We tried to get him help along with his parents, but people who have been through abuse know that it takes a lot to leave an abusive relationship. In my opinion, I don't like how his parents cut him off knowing he is experiencing abuse, but I guess enough was enough for them too. Have you considered having direct communication with Emil's parents? There may be information you need, or they need that could help both your granddaughter and Emil. I would give it a try as I would have a lot of questions and feel a need to get answers, if possible. Being they were involved a bit more in their lives, this could be helpful in the long run, for all of you. Thank you. This is what my sister told me too. She is a therapist and she knows her niece Anna. Your sister is 100% right. Never feed into Anna's psychotic BS. Just keep saying, no thanks, leave us alone, goodbye, and blocking her. She will never stop being an emotional terrorist. I don't know about you, but I do not negotiate with terrorists. Neither do I. My sister also made a comment that really stuck with me. If you would not take abuse from a stranger, why are you taking it from your daughter? It was like I finally had the blindfold removed from my eyes. Not the a-hole. What is wrong with her, honestly? Maybe she thinks she can use the baby and hold it over everyone's head, but then realized it backfired, so she's claiming nonsense about favoring the other grandchildren? That is exactly what happened and what she decided to do. It backfired on her, though. I think she thought that all grandparents would give up anything to be in their grandchild's life. I have said this before and I will say this again. Being a grandparent does not mean that your life revolves around your grandchild.